Ma'am, we are not able to hear you. Can you please check your audio? Dear members, if you can able to hear that audio, please let me know. I couldn't hear speaker's voice here. I can able to see her presentation but not her audio. Dear friends, there is a technical issue. I think so. The speaker will join. Please stay on the line. Yes, nutrition and immunity. So the topic is interesting one, and it is going to presented by a person who has done a research on nutrition and its impact on human immunity, and what are the food items that will increase our immune system naturally without taking any artificial stimulations. We are going to listen from today's expert inputs. Thank you, thank you. And there's a technical issue for that speaker. She will join in another 1 or 2 minutes. And you can give your, please unmute if anything, anybody would like to share your experiences journey, the webinar journey, please unmute yourself and then just give your inputs. Yeah, I will make a call to the speaker. I'll come back. So, Sivakumar sir, can you please give your input, your journey with us? I think you are here for many sessions, and can you please share your experiences here? And the speaker is joining in another 1 or 2 minutes. Can you able to hear me, sir? Dear friends, our speaker having some technical issue. Just now, she messaged she will join in another 1 or 2 minutes. Please stay on the line. Dear participant, anybody would you like to share your experiences? Please, you are welcome to share your experiences here until once the speakers join, then we will begin the session. Up to that, you can give your feedback. Can you able to hear me? Please let me know, somebody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, so up to that, I will do one thing. I will share my journey here. Dear friends, once the lockdown was announced due to that spread of COVID-19 in India, and the March is the month, and we were not having the facility move for anywhere else. So during that time, I found some of my friends who were conducted webinars to promote awareness about the COVID-19. So that is a spark. I got it from there. I invited some of my friends. Shall we start a webinar session to promote mental health awareness? They told me that okay, we'll do that. So in the beginning, in the March, April 14th, we started our webinar session with expert speaker by Dr. Subhasri. She is our first speaker, and followed by there are many Dr. Kadaravan sir, and there are many people who come forward. And in a day, once after a week, you can find out that you can see in a day we had 3 to 4 webinar sessions. So that much curiosity was there. And once we reach 100, we never thought that we will reach 100 webinar sessions. And after we invited, we floated that invitation to the speakers from different perspective, and most of them were agreed that okay, we would like to share our inputs or our experiences learning with many participants over here. And the expert form we have created in Google form. You will be wonder that in a single day we have received 86 expert members who registered. They come forward, they would like to speak in that webinar series. And there were still now, I think we are having many speakers who are interested to speak in our webinar session. And as a faculty, I can say that this is a very good platform for me to learn a lot about that in the field. I can say one example. I'm in the field, I'm not having any idea about psycho-oncology. But the speakers from psycho-oncology, they given the different perspective, and they given that nuts and bolts of psycho-oncology, why it is important, and how it is different from others, what are the precautions we have to take when we are going for providing counseling to that cancer patients. So these were the new learning to me. And for adolescents alone, we had around 16 to 17 webinar sessions. And the same topic, but the different speaker, they given their inputs from their perspective, and which is totally new to me. And each one of them, they want to show their learnings and how they want to are different from others, and their own experiences were shared. It's really useful for me. Also, I hope most of the participants were sent in a feedback through the mail as well as in the feedback form about our journey. And once we reach 200 session, that is about that the policies in mental health. Why we invited that person? There are many of people who were related to mental health, and they had an confusion that whether we can practice mental health services. And so that is a point we kept in our mind. And Dr. Veena is the person who is an instrumental for inviting that director for the policy and law related to mental health. He is the one person, the core member of that mental health policy. So we invited him, and he shared his experiences, and that inputs made many people, oh, yes, we are having that. Yes, we can do work in the field of mental health, and now we are here more than 250 webinar sessions. I hope speakers joined. I think still, ma'am, Vidya ma'am, can you please unmute yourself? Nitya ma'am, can you please unmute your mic? Okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, it took us some time to just give the input regarding how we started our webinar sessions. Ma'am, over to you, ma'am. And yeah, please just brief about your education and your contribution in the field, and then you can take over the session, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So good evening to myself, Dr. K. Nitya. I'm actually an agriculturist. I did my BSc Agri in TNAU, and after that I move on to biotechnology. So I have completed MSc, MPhil, and PhD biotechnology in Laredo College, and I have worked as a project fellow under UGC major research project for 3 years. And after that, my PhD program, I have joined as assistant professor in the American College. Okay? Yes, fine. Shall we move on to the topic, sir? Hello, sir.
Ma'am, you can continue, ma'am. It is visible, ma'am.
Okay.
You can.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Okay. So, good evening to all. So, by looking at this topic, nutrition and immunity. So, before that, I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Damani Christopher, and the coordinator, Dr. Suresh Kumar, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share the basic concepts regarding nutrition and immunity. So, it's my pleasure, sir. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this golden opportunity. So let's directly move on to the topic nutrition and immunity. It is it is a basic concept. We all know what is a nutrition. And, it is the study of nutrients and how it is interact with the body functioning. So and immunity we all know. So while born, we'll have the natural immunity, and later on we'll acquire the immunity during lifetime courses. So let's look on to the of this nutrition and immunity. So nutrition, immune system, metabolism, microbiome, these are all these concepts are interlinked because nutrition is very essential for bringing up the strong immune system. And metabolism, of course, we have lots of biological metabolic pathway in our body system, like starting from carbohydrate metabolism, lipids, proteins, like folate metabolism. We have n number. These are also linked with nutrition and microbiome. That is, what is the total microorganisms which lives in the human system, and microbiota is nothing but the living organisms in the gut alone. That is called microbiota, and how this microbiota nutrition interlinked. We'll see one by one. So first, I would like to give the basic concepts of immune system. Like we have two types: innate and acquired immune system. In case of innate system, so when the pathogen enters the human body, the first line of defense, that is the physical barriers, for example, skin and also the mucosal membrane of the respiratory tract, digestive tract. These are all the first line of defense which encounters the pathogen. Okay, if the pathogen escapes and again it enters the human body, then the second defense line comes to play here. That is called the cells like neutrophil and monocytes will take care of that pathogen. If again the pathogen escapes all these first and second line of defense mechanism, then the third line of defense is acquired immunity. So we have like lymphocytes, that B cells and T cells, to encounter the particular pathogen so that it evade off the pathogen from the human body. So it is of two types, like B cells and T cells. So B lymphocytes, and in T cells you have T helper and cytotoxic T cells. So this is the very basic mechanism how our immune system or our immune defense mechanism works in order to evade off the microorganisms or pathogens. So in case of acquired immunity, you have again two types, like active immunity, passive immunity. So active, in that case, you have natural as well as artificial. In case of active immunity you develop after being exposed to an infection or from getting a vaccine. For example, if you are infected with any pathogen, your antibodies will be raised with respect to that particular antigen. That is called a natural active immunity. In case of artificial active immunity, we are getting vaccinized or immunized with the help of vaccine. So if you are getting vaccine, see, antibodies are raised against that particular pathogen. This is called artificial active immunity. In case of passive immunity, as that of active immunity, you have natural as well as artificial. This kind of immunity, you acquire from someone or something else. For example, natural passive immunity. So we'll be getting antibodies from mother. That is the baby gets the antibodies through mother's milk. So because that mother's milk are enriched with antibodies, are otherwise called as immunoglobulins. Whereas in case of artificial antibodies, this kind of immunity it's occurred with the help of a serum. Like for example, during this COVID time and all, we don't have vaccine. So those who have already infected with COVID, they have recovered from that. So those plasma contains antibodies for that particular antigen. So if we are directly getting the antibodies and we are taking as a serum medicine, then this is called as passive artificial immunity. So this is what the basic concepts of immunity. And let's move to nutrients. So as you all know, we have from 6th standard onwards, we'll be studying macronutrients, micronutrients. So macronutrients is nothing but carbohydrates, proteins, fats, because we need these kinds of nutrients in larger amount. So because it supplies adequate energy for all the metabolic processes like carbohydrate metabolism, protein synthesis, DNA, RNA synthesis, and also the production of immunoglobulins, cytokines, and acute phase proteins. So these macronutrients are essential for DNA, RNA, and protein synthesis, as well as immunoglobulins is nothing but antibodies production. And the next one is micronutrients. So in case of micronutrients, so when compared to macronutrients, because it plays a major role in metabolic pathway, whereas in case of micronutrients, it has a major role in the immune system. Like for example, if you take vitamin C, it has both innate as well as adaptive immunity. As I said, innate, it is naturally present. So we acquire immunity through natural. So whereas adaptive, we are going to acquire the immunity through the lifetime process. So innate immunity, as I said, neutrophils, lymphocytes, phagocytes. So this vitamin C will stimulate the production of these kinds of cells in order to tackle the pathogen. And in case of adaptive immunity, so it increases serum levels of antibodies, because if antigen enters the human system, the antibody should be raised in order to encounter all these kinds of pathogens, and its role in lymphocyte differentiation and proliferation. And you all know vitamin C rich fruits, citrus fruits, kiwi, capsicum, papaya, spinach, amla. So these are all the fruits which are rich in vitamin C. So we need to take adequate amount of vitamin C in order to exhibit this innate and adaptive immunity. So next one is vitamin D. So vitamin D also have as adaptive immunity. And as I said, innate, these kinds of cells, monocytes, macrophages, dendritic cells will be expressed with the help of the vitamin D receptor. And also it helpful in stimulating the immune cell proliferation and cytokine production. And also it protects the against infection caused by the pathogens. And in adaptive immunity, it mainly inhibits effect in adaptive immunity. And the vitamin D rich fruits are the main source is sunlight, and others are eggs, salmon, fish, mushroom, fortified foods. So these are all the foods which are rich in vitamin D. So next one is vitamin A. So vitamin A, as I said, it have both innate as well as adaptive immunity. So it gives the functional integrity of mucosal cells in innate barrier. Our respiratory as well as digestive system have mucus lining of epithelial cells. So this contains vitamin A will give the structural and functional integrity of this mucosal cells in order to tackle the pathogens in case of first line of defense. In adaptive immunity, this is mainly helpful in functioning of T and B lymphocytes. So adaptive means acquired. So you need to remember the T cells and B cells in order to generate the antibody response for that particular antigen. And vitamin A rich fruits are carrots, egg, dairy products, broccoli, papaya, fish. These are all vitamin A rich fruits. And coming to vitamin E, and it is one of the antioxidants, and it helps to prevent the damage caused by free radicals, because as an antioxidant, the role of antioxidant is to completely remove all kinds of free radicals which is produced by oxidative stress. So this is what innate immunity. In adaptive immunity, this vitamin E enhances T cell mediated functions and lymphocyte proliferation to tackle the pathogens. And vitamin E rich fruits are almonds, mustard greens, olives, papaya, spinach, avocado, and vegetable oil. So these are all the foods which are rich in vitamin E. And next, vitamin B complex. So it helps to regulate inflammation, because if the inflammation is more, it leads to some disease condition. So it regulates inflammation, and in case of adaptive immunity, its role in lymphocyte proliferation, differentiation, and maturation. So it has roles in antibody production also. And in vitamin B, you have vitamin B6, B9, B12. Likewise, you have different types of B vitamins. And folate is but vitamin B9 and B6 and B12. These are all the foods which are rich in egg, spinach, turkey, sweet potato, and sunflower seeds, chicken, salmon. And these are all the foods which are rich in vitamin B complex. And next micronutrients are zinc, iron, copper, and selenium. These are very, very important micronutrients which boost our immune system, and it exhibits both innate as well as adaptive immunity. And foods which are rich in zinc are oyster, chicken, cashews, watermelon seeds, almonds, spinach, red meat. These are all foods rich in zinc. And iron-rich foods are raisins, oatmeal, soybean, eggs, chicken, red meat. And copper-rich foods are walnuts, soybeans, mainly nuts related, like sesame seeds, cashew, mushrooms. These are all. And in case of selenium-rich foods, this fish and red meat, liver, egg, spinach. These are all the food items which are rich in selenium. And next we move on to probiotics, because probiotics are the living microorganisms and which boost the good or beneficial microorganisms in our gut, as well as it improves the digestion, vitamin absorption, and immunity. So mainly probiotic foods are present in fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, pickles, kimchi, miso, tempeh, natto. These fermented foods. So fermented foods are rich in microorganisms like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, which are the beneficial bacterium which is normally present in our gut. So this will boost the immune system and makes the immune system stronger. So we need to take adequately the probiotics food. And next one is commonly promoted foods like turmeric. You all know during this COVID period, our grandparents and our parents will suggest to take more of turmeric, chili, ginger, garlic, cinnamon, black cumin in our diet, because these are all contains the active ingredients which has a antioxidant property, anti-inflammation property, and also it will boost our immune system. So for example, turmeric contains the active ingredient curcumin, chili capsaicin, ginger gingerol, garlic allicin, cinnamon cinnamaldehyde, clove eugenol, black cumin thymoquinone. So these are all the active ingredients which have the antioxidant properties, and thereby it boosts our immune system. And next we have seen these are all the nutrients which have their enrich our immune system. So make our immune system stronger in order to get off the pathogens or infections caused by microorganisms. So next, we move on to the metabolism. How we have taken dietary folate or folate as a supplement. Okay, so it enters into the folate metabolic pathway, because all the foods which we enter, it needs to be first absorbed and metabolized and digested, and later it will be absorbed by the intestine. This is the process for all the food components. So whatever food which enters through the mouth, it has to be digested and metabolized and properly absorbed. So then it is called as bioavailability. So likewise, if we take dietary folate, so we have series of enzymes which convert this dihydrate folate into tetrahydrofolate, and again 5-10-methynyl tetrahydrofolate to 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. So just you see, this is a process of converting the dietary folate into 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, which is the active form of folate, is circulating in our bloodstream. So what this will do, the role of 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is, it will convert the homocysteine into methionine. So homocysteine, if the homocysteine is increased, it leads to oxidative stress. That is, it is nothing but the reactive oxygen species. So if this 5-methylene tetrahydrofolate is not converted by the enzyme methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase, so the process will be stopped here. It will not convert this homocysteine to methionine, because methionine is used for DNA synthesis and DNA repair. So automatically, if the DNA synthesis is stopped, so cell replication, synthesis, nothing will be happening. So it leads to severe disease conditions like Down syndrome, schizophrenia, Parkinson's disease, even pregnancy loss, because folate is very essential for the pregnant mother. So, saying this here because methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase is not present in an active form. For example, genetic variability of this gene occurs. So normally we have wild type. If any genetic variation occur in this particular gene, lead to stopping this process at particular place, like 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate will not be converted. So because of the genetic variability of an individual, so if I have this gene, this enzyme in an active form, I will get this 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. If one of you are lacking this enzyme, this process will not be happen. So this process, this folate metabolism here is stopped here. So this is what the genetic variability of an individual. So genetic variability is nothing but the genetic sequence of this particular gene, MTHFR. So even though we are taking the food, but if we a particular gene for this methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase enzyme, then it leads to problem. Like we ultimately result in disease conditions. So there is a link between nutrition and metabolism and genetic factors. This is one example is caffeine and metabolism. Many of you will like to have, and this coffee contains caffeine, and also here genetic variability in metabolism. Like this is one of the enzyme, cytochrome P1A2. So it codes for the gene cytochrome P1A2. If this gene is present in your chromosome, then your caffeine, 95% of the caffeine will be metabolized and cleared from your body. Then you call it as fast caffeine metabolized. So even though if you are taking coffee, since you contain this caffeine metabolizing gene, so no problem will be occur because of this caffeine. So whereas if one of you doesn't have this cytochrome gene, then the caffeine will not be properly metabolized in the liver, and it takes a longer period to eliminate from your body. So then we call it as those individual as slow metabolizers. So why I'm saying this? Because one of you will have like to have n number of cups of coffee, 5 to 6 cups. So it doesn't give or raise any problem because you have this gene, cytochrome 1A2 gene, which is present in the liver, and it will completely metabolize the caffeine. So those who didn't have this cytochrome metabolizing gene, then they'll end up with a problem because the caffeine will started to accumulate in your liver, and finally it leads to some other disease conditions. So that is what I am trying to say here. You have a link between nutrients, metabolism, and the genetic factors like the gene. The important one is gut-brain axis. So because there is a link between brain and the gut. So this is the new topic, like gut-brain axis, because your brain have trillions of neurons, as well as your gut is also having the trillions of neurons, because it have the communication, bidirectional communication, which is made by vagus nerve, which is the biggest nerve that connects your gut and brain. So if your intestinal tract is enriched with a good microbiota, then so they have research also have proven that. So if you are taking probiotics and your gut is enriched with beneficial microorganisms, then this happiness hormones, you all know as a psychology student, like serotonin, dopamine, these are all happiness hormones, will make you to get rid of the anxiety. So your brain will be in a healthier mood. So this is what the link between the gut and the brain axis. The foods you can take in order to grow the, in order to help to grow the beneficial microorganisms in the gut. First one is omega-3 fatty acids, which is widely found in olive fish, and it increases good bacteria in the gut. And the next one is the fermented foods, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and cheese, which are all the fermented foods that have been shown to alter your brain activity also. And high fiber foods like whole grains, nuts, seeds, fruits, and vegetables all contain prebiotic fibers, and these will reduce hormone, stress hormones like cortisol, and it makes you to get rid of the anxiety. And polyphenol-rich foods like cocoa, green tea, olive oil, and coffee, these all contains polyphenols, which also enrich your gut bacteria and also improve your cognition in the brain. And tryptophan-rich foods, tryptophan is nothing but an amino acid, and it is converted into the neurotransmitter serotonin, and it is also a happy hormone. Foods that are high in tryptophan include turkey, eggs, and cheese. So if you are taking these kinds of foods in your diet, you can enrich your gut with beneficial microorganisms like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, and thereby we can improve the mental health of our brain. And so I'd like to summarize. So nutrient availability influences immunity, because macro and micro have important and vital role in immune processes, like macronutrients involved in immune cell metabolism and protein synthesis, and micronutrients are involved in antioxidant defenses. So the main function of body's immune system are to protect the host against infection. Additionally, the immune system develops appropriate tolerance to avoid unwanted response to healthy tissues of self or harmless foreign substances. This is very important one. So the immune system needs to avoid the unwanted response to healthy tissues of self, because if the immune system found our body cells as antigens, then it will kill all the healthy cells. This kind of a disease is called autoimmune disease because our own cells are considered as antigen and the immune response are raised against our self tissues. So that is called autoimmune disease. We have some autoimmune diseases like type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, myasthenia gravis, so Graves disease. These are all comes under autoimmune disorder. So this is also very important. And there is considerable heterogeneity among individuals. So as I said, so we are all not uniform in all kinds of genetic factors or the nutrition factors or immunity defense mechanisms, because we are all heterogeneity. So we are vary because of the immunological function, because of the factors like genetics, environment, lifestyle, nutrition, microbiota, and the interaction of these all factors. So each individual have their own genetic makeup, and based on that, you will have your defense mechanisms and your way of eating habits, everything will differ. So this is called heterogeneity among individuals. And on this discussion, I would like to give some take-home messages for you all to make your immune system stronger and your brain in a healthy mood or a better mood. Like the first thing is you should take a balanced and nutritious food, because various kinds of micronutrients are available in different kinds of fruits and vegetables. So you need to take in a balanced manner. The first one is, and the second one is give enough sleep to your mind. So that is very important. And spend some time in nature, or at least 20 minutes, because research also shows that spending time in nature will improve your immune system as well as it improve your health of your brain. So kindly do that. And also you can listening to the music. This all will make your brain healthy and safe also. And you can do some little bit exercises and deep breathing that makes you to circulate the oxygen directly to the brain. So these kind of simple things we can practice in our day-to-day life in order to make our immune system strong, so that if you are strong enough, we can encounter any kind of pathogens or infections, and we can lead a healthy life. Okay, thank you all. Thank you all for your patience listening. If you have any doubt, you can.
Ma'am, it is an amazing session. And can you able to hear me, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I know the term immunity. It is about general immunity. Today only I come to know that in-depth detail about immunity. And there are two types of immunity. Again, that among the types there are subdivisions are there, and we can able to increase this immunity through natural as well as the food and the exercise also. Thank you so much for amazing presentation. And once when we met a doctor for my children, my eldest son had a problem, epilepsy. When we met a doctor, they said that there is a possibility that autoimmune system. And today I come to know that what it is. So thank you for making us to create an awareness, including me. And dear participant, it is open to each one of you. If you have any questions related to today's presentation, I hope the same kind of experience you all have regarding that wonderful presentation. And if you have any questions or would you like to have get to know about something, you can just unmute yourself and ask a question to the resource person now. Open to all. Ma'am, I think there are questions in the chat box. I think just a minute, ma'am. I'll read out.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Ma'am, it is a question from Mr. Ravindran.
Yes, sir.
Please inform the foods that promote good brain activity. So he is focused on how we can increase the brain activity of an individual. What is the food item which is suitable for that, ma'am?
It's a probiotics. I said no last slides back. Probiotics, it's enrich your brain activity because, as I said, you have a direct connection between gut and brain axis. Whatever you or intake, it is in the gut. So you are going to enrich your gut with the microorganisms. So probiotics. The first I'll suggest you like yogurt and all the fermented foods you can take, and the next one is micronutrients and also the foods which rich in active ingredients that also will stimulate your brain activity. So the first one is probiotics, and second one is a few micronutrients, and the third one is like ginger, the food which contains active ingredients. We can add it in our diet in a regular basis just to enrich gut as well as the brain activity.
Ma'am, there is I think a very good answer for that, ma'am. And one more question regarding that. Most of the home we are using now purified water. So as you said that micronutrients we can get it, zinc and iron component. When we take from the groundwater, we can able to get. Whether this distilled or purified water is good for our health, or we have to go for normal natural water. Which one is best?
Yes. And it is also useful to all, I think so, because as you said, when we go for reverse osmosis and all, will filter all these kinds of micronutrients. So I will suggest you, we have to drink natural groundwater, but we need to boiled water has to be used.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And there is one more question from Sarabdeep Singh. It is about how our the nutrition will affect our immunity. Suppose if we take over nutrition, will it affect our immunity, or if we are taking insufficient nutrition, will it affect our immunity?
Yes. So two conditions are possible. If we are lacking of nutrients, will definitely end deficiency. So immunodeficiency disorders like anemia, these kind of diseases will occur. If our immune system are working more stronger than the required one, ultimately it results in autoimmune disorder. So it will going to kill your healthy cells also. So these two extremes should not be occur in our body. So normal immune system and immune response has to be needed for the normal mechanism. Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. There is one more question, ma'am. It is regarding, and there is traditional food items were mostly liked by youngsters right now. One day found that the people who were lived 50, 100 years back, they were healthy. But nowadays, most of them are not healthy because they are saying that the food item they taken is a good one, the millet and the other components.
Definitely.
Is it true, and how, if it is true, and why, how it is different from that Sunday food item?
Definitely. In previous years, or our grandmas and great grandmas will have these kinds of food, cereals, millets, mainly millets, minor millets. So they are rich in these kinds of micronutrients. So that's what. But whatever now we are taking, or fast foods, or we are moving to junk foods. So that doesn't have nothing rather than the sugars, like carbohydrates. So rather micronutrients, so there won't be present in the junk foods or fast foods. So rightly pointed by you that we have to move on to back, that we have to follow the diet which is like Tamil traditional foods, which was followed earlier. So that is good for our health, definitely. So in few cases, they are moving towards these kinds of, again, they are moving towards this traditional foods. Ipolam vandu kambu, kepakul, kambangullam, it is available in the road streets also. So definitely years, everyone will move on to the traditional foods
Very
because
true,
of the
ma'am. And
health condition. Yes.
I can see that most of the youngsters also like to have it. And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. They like to have millets.
Yes, and there are many positive feedback for your presentation ma'am, from Dr. John Paul John and Janet also. And they said that it is an interesting topic for them, and they given great inputs regarding this. I'm really with your presentation, ma'am. Now I request our core team member, Dr. Salim Akbar, to give brief feedback and vote of thanks for today's session. So over to you, sir. Salim, sir. I think he's some.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it's unmuted now. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to give the feedback and thanks. Thank you very much. It was a very wonderful session, madam. It's needed also this topics, Dr. Nithya ma'am.
Thank
So
you, sir.
everybody
Thank
is very interested to learn the immunity system. Suresh sir very well rightly pointed out the point that they explained. You are very well explained the immunity system, ma'am. So it's, we learned a lot in that, particularly the topic. I think
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
particularly you have to take one more session. I think so, ma'am. To elaborate.
Definitely, sir. If you give, Suresh sir, if you give, I'll take.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. We'll come back.
Thank you, sir.
We'll have
Thank
one more.
Because nobody knows in this detail, ma'am. That's what so we required in that one. So it was a very wonderful session. We learned a lot actually, ma'am. So thanks a lot. Kindly accept our gratitude on behalf of American College, Madurai, and MS Chalamanthi Institute, Madurai, and the Madras School of Social Work, Chennai, and Red Pond Educational Psychological Center, Madurai, and Psycho-Oncological Association, Turkey. So thank you very much, madam. Participant, thank you, one and all. So we will have yet another wonderful time tomorrow. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Suresh sir, thank you so much for inviting
Thank
me
you, ma'am.
to give this
Welcome.
session.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
all.
much.
Thank you all for wonderful participation. Thank you, ma'am, for nice presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, we will have another session in very shortly, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.